Part of the problem with the Weimar analogy is that it tells a single story about inevitability, right? It was built and it was constructed and it was retold by scholars or people who lived through it after the fact, right? After fascism was defeated, but then they're in the Cold War, and then archives open up decades later. And Weimar becomes this sort of like warning from history, right? Here's this path that could happen. It could happen here, as others have sort of articulated it, right? And while I do think that is absolutely true, I also think that if you were in Weimar Germany in, let's say, 1929, there were a lot of possibilities. There were a lot of things that were open. Right? Here's a better way of saying it. The Weimar analogy, I think, is very apt and accurate for our own moment insofar as there are a lot of similarities we share. But I don't think it's a precise, perfect analogy insofar as if it's being used just to describe that it feels bad right now and that it feels like reactionary forces are taking over. There have been countless times in history where that's been the case. And so what I want to do with this is really get into the Weimar period and see what is it that we actually really do share with them. And one thing we do share with them, I think, is a sense of a society that is being rapidly transformed by new media technology that's changing the swimming pool that everybody's swimming in, right? The heat of the water is getting dialed up and everybody feels it, but they don't know where the thermostat is or something like this, right? Yeah. Or it's a society in which old political norms are suddenly no longer functioning and operative or convincing to people. And one thing we forget about the Weimar period is that this was a culture and a society that for the previous 100 or so years, didn't have a nation. It didn't have a country. Like there was no such thing as Germany. It was this German empire that then collapses after the First World War. And then suddenly, after a series of revolutions, failed revolutions or whatnot, we get this very fragile young democracy, right? And the democratic institutions they're brand new and nobody knows how to use them because nobody had ever lived in a democracy before. That's not so much the case here, right? We have these older institutions, and yes, we're watching as they fail to contain what's happening. But at the same time, what we share is this moment of general crisis and also an economic crisis. And so what I want to do is I want to get into this period and I want to pull out what we do share without leading to this inevitability of it's going to happen exactly the same way. And show, as you noted, that like it was a really open society. There were transformative, progressive moments of possibility in Weimar that, yes, were tamped down by the Nazis when they came into power, but part of the reason it led to what it did is that there was a real threat from the forces of reaction of progressive forces. And I want to go into Weimar Germany and sort of extract and pull out those moments of possibility and try to suggest that things are really bad, but maybe if we think about this in a different way, we can try to go in a different direction.